Think about the last massive corporate scandal that totally dominated the news cycle. Chances are, if you pulled up that company's website right before the crash, they probably had the word integrity plastered in bold letters on their core values page.
Oh, almost guaranteed it's everywhere.
Right. And as an HR decision maker, you know the drill. It is basically the ultimate corporate buzzword. But in our deep dive today, we are, stripping away all that fluff to figure out how to actually engineer integrity into a measurable, hard-coded driver of your culture.
Because, I mean, when integrity is just a nice poster in the break room, it completely fails under pressure.
Exactly. So to frame this, let's think about a building's foundation. Compliance is basically the building inspector coming by to check if you have enough emergency exits. But integrity, that's the rebar buried deep inside the concrete.
That is a great way to look at it. You don't see it day to day.
Nobody notices it when things are fine, but it is literally the only thing keeping the structure standing when an earthquake hits.
Yeah, that rebar analogy works perfectly to separate integrity from its strict legal cousin, which is compliance. Our sources define integrity as the consistent alignment between what a company says and what it actually does.
Which is very different from just following the rules.
Right, because compliance is reactive. It is just following explicit rules. Integrity is proactive. It's, making the right call even when the rules don't explicitly apply.
Okay, wait, let me push back on that a bit.
Sure.
If your employees follow the rule book, check all the legal boxes, and they pass their compliance training, isn't that enough? Like, why do we need to engineer this abstract layer on top of it?
Well, because a purely compliance-driven organization is just incredibly brittle. You simply cannot write a rule for every single human interaction.
That's very true.
Yeah. So when a situation arises that isn't explicitly covered in your giant employee handbook, compliance gives you nothing. Integrity fills those behavioral gaps.
So it's like the operating system that kicks in when the rule book runs out.
Precisely. And if integrity takes the wheel when the rules run out, the question is how you actually program that operating system. The sources outline a 4-part blueprint for HR, starting naturally with hiring.
But we aren't just talking about standard behavioral interviews here, right? I mean, companies already do those.
Exactly. You have to treat recruitment as a threat detection system, not just a skills assessment. That means leveraging background screening as a strategic safeguard.
Rather than just like a box-checking exercise.
Right.
Wait, but isn't standard background screening inherently backward-looking? How does verifying a degree predict if an account manager will cut ethical corners tomorrow?
It's not really about finding a criminal record. It's about validating a pattern of honesty.
Oh, I see.
If someone lies about a small timeline gap on their resume just to look better, that is a micro-indicator of how they handle pressure and transparency. You're establishing a baseline of truthfulness from day one.
But, bringing in honest people doesn't even matter if you drop them right into a toxic environment.
Oh, absolutely not.
If your new hire watches your top salesperson forge a client's signature and just get away with it, that new hire's integrity is immediately compromised.
Which is exactly why the second pillar is transparency, specifically uniform policy application.
Meaning the rules actually apply to everyone.
Yes, the CEO and the intern. If high performers get a free pass on bad behavior, you don't have a culture, you have a hostage situation.
Wow, a hostage situation. That is intense.
But it's true. You also need safe, genuinely anonymous reporting channels where speaking up doesn't feel like career suicide.
Which leads right into the third piece, enablement. Because you have to train your leaders to handle those reports correctly when they actually happen.
Yeah, enablement is about equipping managers to prioritize fairness and long-term stability over short-term financial gains.
So it's teaching a sales director how to publicly reward an employee who walked away from a highly profitable but maybe shady deal.
Exactly. You have to actively celebrate the exact behavior you want to see.
That sounds great in theory, but we have to talk about the fourth pillar, which is metrics. How do you actually measure a concept like integrity without relying on just subjective gut feelings?
You build ethics-focused KPIs. So instead of just tracking raw output, you track the speak-up rate.
The speak-up rate, meaning how often an employee or a team reports near misses or concerns?
Yes.
Yeah.
A high reporting rate doesn't actually mean you have a corrupt culture. It means you have a safe one where people trust the system.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
You also integrate integrity metrics into performance reviews by evaluating how someone hit their targets, not just that they hit them.
Looking at this whole framework, hiring for truthfulness, applying policies uniformly, enabling leaders, tracking the speak up rate, it really elevates HR's role.
It is a massive shift.
You aren't just mere process facilitators anymore. You are basically the architects of the company's organizational resilience.
Right, because integrity scales through people, and it is shaped daily by the systems and metrics that HR controls. It's not magic, and it definitely doesn't just happen because leadership put it on a slide deck.
I want to leave you with this final thought. If true integrity is making the right choice when no one is watching, how do you measure it before an employee even walks through your door?
It is the critical question.
Look at your current hiring process. Are you assessing for skills and just hoping for integrity, or are you actively designing for it?